The story begins in an American city, where, at night, some masked thugs spread out across the city and kidnapped several people from different places. Sometime later, a girl named Leah woke up and found herself in an unfamiliar room, with a strange man sleeping beside her on the bed. She couldn't understand anything, so she opened the door and called out for someone, but when no one answered, she decided to investigate on her own. Just then, in the adjacent room, she saw two more men lying unconscious on the bed. Now she started looking for a way to get out of there, but soon she saw that the main door was locked from the outside, and then she realized that someone had trapped them there. Now, Leia was growing more and more anxious, but even then, she kept searching for a way out. But this time too, she met with failure because all the windows and doors of the bungalow were completely sealed with cement. Seeing this, Leia panicked badly and suddenly fainted and collapsed right there. After this, we see that a man named Father Duffy woke her up from her unconsciousness. Then, a policeman named Jay told everyone else present there that there was nothing to be afraid of. She had just gotten a bit too scared. Then Leia got up and saw that, besides her, there were 6 other people present there. Just then, a strange voice came from the speaker, which startled all of them. This voice called itself the Watcher and said that all of them had been kidnapped and brought there. Now, it would conduct an experiment on all of them, not for science, just for fun. It said that there were 75 cameras and microphones installed inside the mansion, through which it would keep an eye on all of them, and in the end, whoever survived would receive $5 million, which is about 43 crore rupees. Hearing this, all of them started talking nervously, because they thought this had to be some kind of stupid joke. Jay said that he felt like this was some kind of game, and saying this, he pulled out his gun. He said that the Watcher didn't take his gun away when he was abducted, which means the Watcher himself wants someone to win and get out of here. Then Shona said that just because Jay has a gun, it doesn't mean he can boss everyone else around. But then Father, Duffy, and a man named Francis stepped in and stopped them. At that moment, Francis said that the Watcher wants to see all of them kill each other. Jay agreed with him, but he said that all of them should work together to find a way to escape from this bungalow. He believed that it's possible the Watcher might kill the last surviving person himself. Now Jay told everyone to work together and lift the table so they could break down the door and escape from there. But unfortunately, their attempt failed, which left all of them quite disappointed. But Jay still wasn't ready to just sit back and do nothing. That's why he fired bullets at the windows, but they couldn't get through the cement wall. Finally, Jay told everyone to split up and search in different directions to find a way out of there. After a while, when Jay reached the basement, he noticed that the ground there was a bit soft. Now, full of energy, he started digging the ground with a steel rod, but soon he saw that there was a thick layer of heavy metal beneath the soil. In the end, this plan of his also fell apart. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see that Shona saw Claire drinking alcohol instead of helping everyone, which led to an argument between the two of them. Soon, things escalated into a physical fight between the two. But Jay arrived just in time and snatched the glass from Claire's hand. Then he put the rest of the alcohol in a locker as well, saying that they needed to stay sober in order to find a way out of there. After this, some of the players started talking among themselves about the $5 million prize, because in reality, all of them were in desperate need of money. But Father Duffy was completely against this, because it meant that they were all thinking about killing each other. Jay felt the same way. So he vowed that he wouldn't let anyone take another person's life. Just then, they suddenly heard a strange noise coming from the kitchen, so they went there to check it out. There, they saw a machine that had brought food for them, but as for the food, it was just chicken and potatoes. Now, since they had no other option, they all decided to divide it into equal portions and eat. Jay told everyone to take their own share, but Albie, out of greed, filled his entire plate. At that, Jay angrily snatched the food from his hand. Anyway, while eating, Shona revealed that she was a drug dealer and showed everyone the monitor strapped to her leg. Actually, she was out on parole but couldn't leave her house. She said that if she didn't get out of this mansion soon, the jail authorities would think she had run away, and then she'd have to go back to prison. But at this, Father Duffy said that this was actually a good thing. Soon, the police will try to trace your location, and then they can rescue us. Anyway, after dinner, Jay and Father Duffy took on the responsibility of assigning rooms to everyone by drawing lots. When Claire drew her slip, it had Shona's name on it, but the two of them hated each other. But Jay said that the decision had been made and nothing could be changed now. Later that evening, in Claire's absence, Shona started going through her purse and taking things out. Seeing Claire's wealthy lifestyle made her really jealous, because she herself was just getting by selling drugs. But before she could look at more pictures, Claire came out of the bathroom and started yelling at Shona for touching her things without asking. Meanwhile, in Francis and Cynthia's room, Francis once again said that he wanted to get $5 million no matter what. But Cynthia was against it because she knew they would have to kill others for the money. Anyway, the next morning, While all the players were sleeping, a masked man entered Jay and Leah's room and tried to steal Jay's gun. But suddenly, Jay woke up and immediately attacked the thief. The sounds of their scuffle woke Leah up as well. But suddenly, the thief pushed Jay and managed to escape, so Jay and Leah couldn't see his face. Hearing the commotion, the other players also rushed into the hall, and Jay pointed his gun at everyone, because he thought the thief was one of them. Then Francis and Max pointed fingers at Albie, suspecting him. But as soon as he heard this, Albie got angry, because everyone was accusing him for no reason. Now Francis and Max started talking to each other again, but this time they were speaking in French. Claire thought they were making some kind of plan together. At the same time, Albie told them to speak in English. Soon, another argument broke out, so Father Duffy stepped in and told everyone to put aside their differences. After a while, all the players returned to their rooms, but Jay was still in the hall. He said that being so soft with the players wouldn't work, because anyone could change their mind at any time. There's a lot of money involved, but Father Duffy still told him to have faith in humanity. A little while later, everyone heard some noises from outside, and Jay thought the police had come there looking for Sona. Now, without wasting any time, they all ran toward the main door and started trying their hardest to break it down. Meanwhile, Jay fired a shot at the roof so that the police outside would be drawn to them. The rest were shouting for help, while Francis sat at a distance, watching them and smiling. Eventually, exhausted and defeated, they all began to cry as their hopes were fading away. At that moment, even Jay's heart softened, and he took the locker key out of his pocket so that whoever wanted to could have a drink and lighten their mood. Later, when Leah was heading toward the bathroom, Francis suddenly appeared in front of her and started flirting with her. But Leah wasn't interested at all, and she reminded Francis that he had a wife, and she was in the same house too. Hearing all this, Francis went to his room's bathroom and broke a bottle of alcohol by wrapping it in a cloth. Then he took out a sharp piece of glass and hid the remaining shards in the toilet tank. After that, Francis went to the living room to Cynthia, but there he saw that Albie was trying to get close to Cynthia. Seeing this, he got angry, but Cynthia said they were just joking around. But Francis was still angry, so he started saying nasty things to both of them. Francis's words made Albie lose his temper too, and he pushed Francis. This started a fight between the two of them. Now Albie was overpowering Francis, so Cynthia got really scared and tried to separate them. But Albie was so blinded by anger that he didn't even notice Cynthia and ended up pushing her too. Her head hit the balcony railing. The injury to her head was so severe that Cynthia died on the spot. Seeing this, Francis and all the other players were left in shock. Now, as punishment for Albie's crime, Jay locked him up in his room. Albie deeply regretted what he had done and asked Jay to open the door. But even then, Jay didn't listen to him at all, because he wanted Albie to be punished for his crimes. Anyway, now all of them were trapped in this unfamiliar bungalow. Because of this, they had no way to perform Cynthia's last rites. In the end, they covered her body with a sheet and placed it in the basement. A little while later, Jay gave everyone food, but this time, everyone got even less food than before, because the Watcher wanted them to fight over food now as well. As soon as Albie found out that the food had arrived, he started demanding his share too, and seeing him hungry made Father Duffy feel really bad. But Jay said that this is the punishment for a criminal. Now, everyone was getting irritated by Albie's constant screaming, so Leah gave Albie her share of the food. Although this was against Jay's wishes, he still agreed to give Albie some food. Then he opened the door and gave Albie a small potato, which made Albie really angry. Anyway, Jay returned to the table, but he noticed that Father Duffy was not there. Soon he realized that Father had gone to give Albie more food, so Jay immediately ran towards Albie's room. In the end, his suspicion turned out to be true because Father had opened the door and set Albie free. Albie was so full of rage that as soon as he came out, he started beating Jay badly with a steel rod and kept hitting him until he died. Within moments, Albie realized what he had done, but by then it was too late. So he immediately ran away from there. Father Duffy tried to help Jay, but unfortunately, he couldn't save his life. Before taking his last breath, Jay handed his gun over to the father, because Jay trusted him the most. Then, the next night, the remaining 7 players saw that there was more food in the machine than usual, along with a note that said they had provided good entertainment for the Watcher. At that moment, Francis quickly grabbed a lot of food, but Father Duffy stopped him. To this, Francis said that he was just taking Albie's share of the reward, since it was Albie who had killed Jay. Now, when he went straight to Albie's room, Albie immediately started trying to justify what he had done, because he thought Francis had come to take revenge for his wife's death. But Francis said, "Brother, I actually brought you some food." Bringing him food made Albie feel even more regretful, and he apologized to Francis for taking Cynthia's life. To this, Francis, showing no sadness at all, said, "It's all right, brother, no big deal. She died. She died. You didn't kill her on purpose." Meanwhile, Max was hiding in a corner, quickly stuffing himself with a lot of food. Just a few moments later, Father, Duffy, and Leah went to Albie's room to check on him. But the horrifying scene they saw there made the ground slip from under their feet. In fact, Albie's body was hanging from the fan, but Leah was convinced that he hadn't died by suicide. Someone else was behind this, because by living here, she had come to understand Albie at least that much. Hearing this, Father called the rest of the players into the hallway for questioning. Then Shona accused Francis of murdering Albie, because after all, he was the last one who went to give him food. Francis flatly denied this, but the others started pressuring Father to punish Francis. But at that moment, Francis said that in that case, Max could also be the killer. It was his scarf that was tied around Albie's neck. Anyway, later in the evening, we see Francis alone in his room, putting on Cynthia's lipstick. After that, he took off his clothes and started dancing like some kind of psycho. Meanwhile, Shona was searching through Claire's bag again and found an expensive-looking necklace. Shona had always had a desire for expensive things, so Shona tried it on. But just then, Claire caught her red-handed. Once again, a heated argument broke out between the two. Claire said that she was trying to steal her jewelry, but Shona was not ready to admit her mistake. Then suddenly, Claire got angry and slapped her, and a physical fight broke out between them. Anyway, sometime later, when Shona was smoking a cigarette to calm herself down, Claire attacked her from behind with a screwdriver and brutally killed her. Meanwhile, on the other side, Francis went to Leah's bathroom, where she was washing her face. Taking advantage of this, Francis picked up a lamp from the wall and smashed it into the sink, giving Leah a powerful electric shock. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Father Duffy told Max that they would have to work together to survive, because he only trusted Max and Leah. But Max asked, "What will I get in return for this?" But Father Duffy refused to give Max any more food, saying it would be unfair to the other players. However, when Max ignored him and started stealing food, Father Duffy was forced to point a gun at his head. Now Father Duffy began to lead Max back to his room. But as soon as they reached the hallway, they saw that Shona's room door was open. Then Father Duffy went inside and was left stunned, because Shona's dead body was lying on the floor. Claire lied to Father, saying that Shona had threatened to kill her, but Father decided to imprison her. After sending Claire outside, Father went to Leah's room to check on her, because he was very worried about Leah. There, he saw Leah lying on the bathroom floor and thought that she too had died. Before he could recover from this shock, Claire took the opportunity and ran away from there. Then, as evening fell, Francis went looking for Father Duffy, because it was time for dinner. But when he got there, he saw that Father was in shock over Leah's death. Now Francis immediately started defending himself, saying, "Look, sir, I'm innocent. I didn't do anything, okay? She didn't die at my hands." But Father had already seen through his cunning. Father rebuked him, saying that he had started taking people's lives out of greed for money. "You've gone mad." Now Father Duffy threatened him with a gun, but it seemed like all fear had left Francis's heart. He knew that Father would never shoot because that would go against his principles. So he started insulting Father, provoking him to pull the trigger. Finally, fed up, Father Duffy did fire the gun. But Francis didn't die. Soon, wounded, Francis managed to escape from there. Meanwhile, Leah suddenly opened her eyes and regained consciousness. She had witnessed everything happening right before her eyes, so she immediately ran and hid in a room. But unfortunately, it turned out to be Francis's room. Now, in her panic, she slipped in the bathroom, causing the toilet lid to fall from her hand. There she found pieces of glass that Francis had hidden. Soon, Father Duffy came looking for Claire and saw that Max had taken her captive. Father told Max to let her go, but Max refused because he was afraid Claire would eat all his food. Finally, just as he was about to kill Claire, Father Duffy shot Max at the last moment. After this, Father deeply regretted what he had done and asked God for forgiveness for his sins. But he didn't know that Francis was following him. Suddenly, Francis struck hard and stabbed a piece of glass into Father's back. At the same moment, Francis picked up the gun and shot Claire, and then killed Father Duffy as well. Now Francis thought he was the only one left in the house, meaning he was the winner of this game, so he began to celebrate his victory in joy. Then he demanded his prize from the Watcher. But just then, Leah accidentally broke the toilet seat, which made Francis realize that someone else was still alive in the house besides him. He quickly ran toward the direction of the sound and saw Leah coming out of her room. He was shocked to see Leah alive. Now, to escape from him, Leah hid under the bed in the farthest room. Soon, Francis found her, and he was really enjoying seeing Leah so helpless. He started pulling Leah out, but Leah wasn't someone who would give up so easily. So she stabbed Francis in the leg with a piece of glass she had taken from the toilet tank. Then she ran upstairs to find another place to hide. But soon, Francis found her there as well. Then suddenly, Francis jumped on her, and both of them fell from the balcony onto the dining table below. This time, Lila had landed on top of Francis, and the piece of glass in her hand was lodged in Francis's chest. In the end, even if it was unintentional, she had killed Francis. But instead of celebrating her victory, she broke down in tears because she had taken someone's life. Anyway, within moments, the main door opened on its own and Lila decided to leave. There, she found a bag full of money, which she kept as her prize. But as soon as she stepped out the door, she saw that she had entered another part of the house, where four other winners were sitting with their own bags of money. Seeing them, Lila froze on the spot because she realized that the game was not over yet.